This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. 1 second, I'm going to mute everyone so that we can just get rid of a little echo that we're hearing. Thank you. Okay, thanks everybody. In addition to our adult stabilization units and progressive unit, we have a senior behavioral unit. That's for people ages 60 and over experiencing Alzheimer's, depression, or psychosis. We also have an IOP, and for those of you who aren't familiar with that term, it stands for Intensive Outpatient Program, and that's addressing issues of mental health and chemical dependency. And in a lot of IOPs and in Laureate, usually people can continue to work and live their daily lives and do this mental health programming outside of work hours, which is nice and convenient and helps people continue to live their lives. We also have an eating disorders unit, which treats adults and adolescents. And we have our clinical assessment department, which is 24-hour care. If you're experiencing crisis, you would go to what we call CAD for clinical assessment department to be assessed, and then they can help you get where you need to go. We also offer outpatient services for those of you who are PCPs on the call or mid-level providers seeing family and children. This might be what you would need to access or refer to mostly. It's for adults, adolescents, and children. We have outpatient psychiatrists for med management and therapy, psychologists, and counselors for people of all ages. And we have an outpatient clinic specifically dedicated to that. So whoever's accessing those outpatient services, it's in an entirely different part of campus than the inpatient. So for those who may think like I'm uncomfortable coming to Laureate, I just don't really want to do that, I feel a little bit uncomfortable, the outpatient clinic is entirely separate and set up a lot like a doctor's office. For those of you who are hoping to have continuing education from this event, we will send certificates of completion and surveys that will be emailed to attendees who are present for the duration of the presentation. Q&A is not mandatory, so as long as you attend the majority of the event, you will be getting those CEU certificates. And then we'll also provide handouts of the slides via email after the presentation. This is approved for social work and for AMA, the for physicians. And so that typically if you present something that has been approved for CME to your board, they will accept that. And this is for our continuing medical education department is our required disclosure for physicians and psychologists. We do not have anything to disclose. And after today's webinar, there are some other upcoming events. Dr. McAdams will be presenting over COVID-19 versus the elderly. He'll be addressing the mental health perspectives of that dynamic. The Director of Operations for the Eating Disorder Program will present over navigating challenging emotions during a pandemic. And then an outpatient therapist will also present over cultivating calmness during COVID-19. So you can email Lauren Brandt. You can see her email at the bottom of this slide, and she'll send you links to registration if you're interested in those. And without further ado, I would love to introduce Grace Evans. She is the therapist who will be presenting breathwork and gentle movement, introducing practical yoga interventions to enhance calm during a quarantine. So Grace completed her Bachelor of Arts in Sociology at the University of Oklahoma and her Master's of Science in Counseling at Oklahoma State University. She joined the Laureate Eating Disorders Program team in 2013 as a psychiatric technician, and she currently works as a therapist in the adolescent program. She's a relationship-based therapist who relies on the importance of therapeutic connection in her work with her clients, and she also happens to be a registered yoga teacher. So I'd love to introduce you to Grace Evans.
Thank you, Heather. That was awesome.
Welcome.
All right. Thank you guys so much for being here. I'm really excited to do this webinar. As Heather said, I work as an inpatient therapist in the Adolescent Eating Disorders Program. and became a yoga teacher, sort of registered yoga teacher just over a year ago. And my interest in yoga started with my own practice, and then really noticing a need for more resources for our patients in terms of enhancing and developing that mind, body, spirit connection. And I think it relates to other practices outside of just eating disorders, and that oftentimes our clients and the people we work with are really disconnected from their bodies. And I think that yoga, mindfulness, breath work is a really great way to increase body awareness and just awareness of our thoughts and how our breath and our movement impact those. So we'll go ahead and get started if you're following along with the slides. So I start by letting you guys know what this presentation is not. And it is not death by PowerPoint. So this was originally developed for an in-person lecture, and I do like to keep it a little bit more interactive and experiential. So we're going to be doing the movements, and we're going to be practicing the breath work. And I hope that you'll walk away from this with some new practices that maybe you share with clients or patients, and maybe for yourself. So it'll be pretty experiential, and we'll be moving a little bit. All right, so what is yoga? I think yoga has become such a buzzword, and we read everywhere, yoga is so good for you. Everyone should do yoga. Yoga's for everybody. And while I absolutely believe that, I also see yoga can be very intimidating, especially to someone who has never practiced yoga before or never stepped into a yoga studio before. So if you look at this picture on the far left, I think that absolutely illustrates how intimidating yoga can be. You've got this young lady doing a handstand, and her, that just feels really intimidating to me as a yoga teacher. But that is in fact yoga. Then if you look at the photo on the right, you have a group of people doing either what might be Shavasana or final relaxation pose in yoga, or Yoga Nidra, which is a restful yoga practice. That is also yoga. And then my favorite photo is the one in the middle, and that's the warrior pose. She is actually in warrior 2 pose, but you can see the little conversation bubbles, everything that's sort of going on in her head as she's practicing her yoga. Am I doing this right? Is everyone looking at me? Should I get chips for dinner? Am I happy? What is my life's purpose? And all 3 of these pictures are yoga. I came up with, or I put together some definitions that I found of yoga that I really enjoyed, and I'll read those if you want to follow along. The word yoga comes from the ancient Sanskrit root yui, which means to yoke or to join, as in yoking together a horse and a cart. Today, yoga is commonly defined as union because the practice helps unite or join together many things. On the most basic level, yoga unites the body and the mind through the breath. On the most cosmic level, yoga unites the individual with the universe. That's from the Yoga Journal. Yoga is a system not of beliefs, but of techniques and guidance for enriched living. And that's from the Yoga Alliance. This next definition, I think, is really important to think about when we think about encouraging our clients or our patients to develop a yoga practice. Yoga teaches us to cure what need not be endured and to endure what cannot be cured. And that's from Iyengar. I'm going to read that again. Yoga teaches us to cure what need not be endured and to endure what cannot be cured. Yoga is an ancient science of health for the physical body and balance for the mind and emotions that provides the foundation for the spiritual journey whose destination is self-knowledge. That's Joseph LePage, and I actually have one of his books at the end in the references if you want to check him out. The last one is my definition of yoga. Yoga is aligning of mind, body, and breath. Yoga is sometimes peace, sometimes frustration, but always growth. So as I mentioned, I work primarily in eating disorders, so I talk about contraindications to a yoga practice. I think this translates into work with any client, looking at things you might want to be aware of if you're sending someone or yourself going to start a yoga practice, just things to be mindful of and things to look for. So I start with body image concerns. A lot of yoga studios, if you're practicing in studio, are going to be might have a lot of mirrors, and they might have people who are shaped a certain way. And if that is going to bring up issues for you, I think that's definitely something to be aware of, be mindful of, and check out depending on where you're going to practice. And if your goal is perfectionism, also exploring that, because yoga isn't about being perfect, and it's not about hitting all the handstands, and it's about making peace. So being mindful of if there are any body image concerns there. Also looking at the type of class that either yourself or maybe your client is going to. For beginner yogis, I say to avoid a hot power flow or any exercise-based class, or a class that is competitive in nature and might leave you feeling a little bit defeated. You don't find those classes to be helpful for overall mental health and well-being. Full disclosure, I do teach a hot power flow class every Friday morning in a studio here locally. So it's not to say that those classes are bad. There's absolutely a time and place for those classes, and people really benefit from them. But it really just depends on what is the intended benefit of yoga. And if you're looking for, relaxation, stress relief, stretching, you might look for something different. So promoting gentle, restorative, yoga nidra, yin yoga, beginner yoga, medium classes, those are really great, and there's a lot of options here. So if we're talking about yoga, prescribing yoga for your client, knowing your client. So is that an expression of them trying to change their body or trying to get out of their body, as I experience some people do that with exercise? Or are they really trying to explore their relationship with their body? That's an important thing to talk about. Know your community. I love Tulsa. I'm a born and raised Tulsa girl, and I absolutely love it here. We have so many wonderful resources when it comes to yoga and yoga studios. But know what type of studio is going to be best for you or for your client. As I said, there are some really great studios here that aren't helpful for everyone. So check that out. The World Wide Web is a great resource. You can really get a lot of information about a studio before you go and find out a lot of information about specific classes. That being said, as we are just today, the city of Tulsa moving into phase 2 around the pandemic reopening, and a lot of studios have been closed for at least 2 months. So it's been a really interesting time to be a yoga practitioner and also a yoga teacher. There's been a lot more resources online pop up, studios offering virtual classes where you can practice at home. And that has been so wonderful and so lovely that people have been able to maintain their practice at home. So that's something that you can look out for now too, especially if you're not comfortable practicing in a studio. However, with that, I will say, before COVID-19 and the coronavirus pandemic started, I would really caution people at getting too comfortable with an online practice. Why? I look at social engagement as a marker of wellness and well-being. And in a virtual online class, you don't receive the same amount of social engagement as you do in an in-person class. So once things are safe, once you feel safe, really maybe stepping out of your comfort zone and going to an in-studio practice and seeing what's different. It really is different, and the social engagement really is an important piece. Knowing your instructor, getting to see them in person, it can be a really healing and really connective experience that is just good for us as human beings. Okay, so before we get up and move a little bit and do a little bit of practice, my last yoga definition, and I have Buddy the Elf here, simply noticing what you feel fosters emotional regulation, and it helps you to stop trying to ignore what's going on inside you. As I often tell my students, the two most important phrases in therapy, as in yoga, are notice that and what happens next. Once you start approaching your body with curiosity rather than fear, everything shifts. And that's Bessel van der Kolk. That's from his Body Keeps the Score book, and they have a whole chapter on yoga and how helpful yoga is in terms of healing from trauma. So I'm going to read that last sentence again. Once you start approaching your body with curiosity rather than fear, everything shifts. So as we move for a couple minutes here, try that. Try approaching your body with curiosity and just noticing where and how you feel the movements. Okay, so if you're seated, go ahead and join me standing up. Move that chair out of the way. So we're going to start with a breath work called the breath of joy, which is an upregulating breath, meaning it increases your energy. This is a really great breath to do when you're feeling a little bit sluggish, been sitting at your desk all day. And as I mentioned, it's an upregulating breath. We'll practice a downregulating breath, a calming breath later on. So I'm going to demonstrate first, and then I'll have you join me. So it's 3 inhales through your nose and an audible exhale out of your mouth. And then arm motions. So I'll demonstrate first. It's okay, join me and we'll keep going. Three more. Last one. Nice work. You feel joyful? You should. Okay, so stay standing. Place your palms at your sides and just allow yourself to feel supported by the earth beneath you. Maybe close your eyes. Deep breath in through your nose. Exhale out of your mouth. Do that 2 more times. Inhale. Exhale. Again, inhale. And exhale. Palms at your sides. Notice where you might be holding tension and see if you can soften. Soften your jaw, soften the muscles in your face and your neck. This is mountain pose or Tadasana. Really taking a moment to stand up straight and check in with our body and with our breath. It's a really powerful practice. It seems really simple, and in a way it is, but it's also really important. We'll move through some modified sun salutations. So follow along with me with your breathing. Inhale, reach your arms overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Bend your knees as much as you need here. Inhale, halfway lift, meaning find a flat back and slightly lift. Exhale to fold again. Inhale, arms rise up, reach up. Exhale, bring your hands through to heart center. Inhale, reach. Exhale, dive it down and fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms rise up, reach up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, reach. Exhale, dive it down and fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms rise up, reach up. Exhale, bring your hands through to heart center. One more time. Inhale, reach. Exhale, swan dive down, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up, reach it up. Exhale, bring your hands through to heart center. Stay right here. Inhale through your nose. Exhale out of your mouth. Lower your palms to your sides and interlace your fingers behind your back. So I'll demonstrate here. Hands are clasped. Just opening up your chest. Gaze forward. 3 more breaths. Inhale. Exhale. 2 more. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Stay for the exhale. Release your palms to your sides. Inhale, reach your arms overhead. And interlace your fingers. Pointy finger and thumb are out. And as you exhale, lean to the right. Big stretch in your left side body. Maybe gaze up towards your palms. Come through center. On an exhale, lean to the left. Big stretch in your right side body. Gaze up, remember to breathe, and send your breath to the place in your body where you feel this stretch. Come through center, lower your palms to your sides. And now we'll find a comfortable seat. So all of this is stuff that hopefully you can do at your desk. So have a seat. Back up a little bit so you can see me. And cross your right ankle on top of your left knee. Flexing in your right foot. So meaning imagine pulling your toes towards your knee. You can place gentle pressure on that right leg. Sitting up tall. This is a big hip opener. Send your breath to where you feel the stretch. When we think about where we hold tension in our bodies, we often think about our shoulders, our neck. But we actually hold a lot of tension in our hips. And I read somewhere that our hips are known as our body's junk drawer. So we just kind of throw everything there. So it's really important to give them a little bit of love every now and again. Uncross that right ankle and switch sides. Left ankle on top of your right knee. Flexing in your toes. Imagine pulling your toes towards your knee, sitting up nice and tall. This might be enough. Maybe you place that gentle pressure on your left leg. Stay with your breath. Breath is the most important part of practice. and uncross. Nice. So we'll move into a gentle spinal twist. Staying seated, tall spine. Place your right palm on the outside of your left knee. Place your left palm either on your low back or just resting on the chair behind you, and gently twist to the left. So you're twisting from the upper part of your torso, your belly button. Imagine keeping that pointed forward towards your computer screen, and twist. Gaze back. Come through center, switch sides. Left palm to the outside of your right knee, right palm behind you, twisting to the right, gaze back. Come through center. One last little stretch. So maintaining that tall spine. People don't realize how hard this is to do, to just notice your posture and really practice lengthening your spine. Shoulders are back, head is tall. And from here, allow your right ear to drop towards your right shoulder. Just a gentle stretch in our necks. So important, especially now, more and more of us are sitting all day. So important to practice some stretching and movement and maintaining that flexibility in our spine and your neck. Come through center, left ear, left shoulder. Come through center. Great job. So I think it goes without saying that the last couple months have increased anxiety for so many people, and especially us as providers, right? So really taking just 10 minutes out of your day and practicing a short, gentle yoga sequence like that one can really do wonders. Just a short time to notice your breath, notice your body, and allow that time to be for you. And there's a lot of resources that have different poses that you can practice at your desk. And I'm happy to answer any questions about that later on. So we'll move from yoga to mindfulness. So if you want to make your way to the mindfulness slide, it's kind of similar when I pose the question of what is yoga, what is mindfulness? Again, buzzword, hear it all the time. Everybody should practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is so great. What is it? What is mindfulness? So this is a webinar. As you're sitting at your desk or with your laptop or whatever you're doing, think about what your definition of mindfulness is. Is it this, the top picture, this lady walking in the fall leaves? That looks amazing, actually. Is it this person on the left, sitting on a dock? She looks pretty zen. Or is it our man? I think he's still with us right now. Mindfulness guru. Yes, mindfulness is all of these things. It absolutely is. Mindfulness is noticing beauty in nature. It's taking a walk. Mindfulness is sitting with silence and meditating on a deck. Mindfulness is our teacher and listening to and acknowledging, being mindful of what other people add to our lives and taking that and using that. So I've got some definitions of mindfulness here. Our process is one of being fully present right here, right now. Meditation is one form of mindfulness, but mindfulness is called by many names. Attentiveness, nowness, and presence are just a few. And essentially, mindfulness means wakefulness, fully present wakefulness, paying attention to all the details of your life. I was in a CEU in Dallas and somebody was talking about mindfulness and she said, it's being woke, which we've all heard of. And I think that's a funny way to think about it too. Waking up and living in harmony with oneself and with the world. It has to do with examining who we are, with questioning our view of the world and our place in it, and with cultivating some appreciation for the fullness of each moment we are alive. Most of all, it has to do with being in touch. Jon Kabat-Zinn. And even, so I mentioned yoga being intimidating, and I think mindfulness can be too. Even looking at both of those definitions, it's like, what? Okay, what? That's a lot of words. What is mindfulness? Probably clear as mud right about now. So moving on to the next slide. Mindfulness is simple but not easy. And I love that definition of mindfulness because it's so true. It seems like such a simple thing, like living in harmony, being wakeful, being fully present and aware of our lives and what's going on moment to moment. That seems really simple and doable until we actually try to do it. And it really is challenging. There are so many distractions, especially now. And being mindful, to me, is acknowledging the here and now, acknowledging that every single day is a gift, and being present right here, right now, even if it's not a spot you want to be in. This is where we are now, and this moment will never come again. And that's a pretty powerful thing to recognize throughout your day. I love describing a mindfulness practice as just noticing beauty in nature. Here at Laureate, hopefully that's really easy for you to do. We have an absolutely beautiful campus and it's springtime, so things are blooming and it's absolutely stunning. Take 5 seconds out of your day and go, wow, that flower is beautiful. Look at that beautiful blue sky. Today it's rainy, but like that's cool too. So just noticing beauty in nature, you are practicing mindfulness. Purposeful awareness. This one is one of my favorite ways to be mindful. Noticing things that seem mundane to you and things that don't seem like any big deal and being especially aware. So on your drive to work, if you think about if you'd never driven to work, what would you notice? What would you be aware of? Being really conscious of details of things that we take for granted or don't pay attention to in the hustle and bustle of everyday life, and just being really aware of every task we're doing. A good one with this is cleaning the house or doing the dishes. It's a meditative practice for me, for sure. Being aware of the task that you're doing. If it's the dishes, if it's sweeping the floor, just really trying to focus on that task. Mindful appreciation is a great one as well. So thinking about when you wake up in the morning and have your cup of coffee, appreciating that you have running water in your home to make that cup of coffee. So many people don't. Appreciating, I think right now, this is especially relevant, our breath. Taking a moment to appreciate our breath, our breathing, our bodies. Again, things that we might not notice or take for granted until you think about not having them. That is mindfulness. We will practice a metta meditation at the end of this webinar. So please, please, please hang on until I get to that, because it's really fun, and I think people really enjoy it. If you don't, send me a message and I'll do something different next time. But for now, we will practice a meditation that also involves a mudra. Mudras are just basically yoga for your hands. There's a resource at the end of the presentation if you're interested in learning more about mudras. So I'll demonstrate and then join me. We'll say the words, peace begins with me, and you will touch your thumb to each fingertip as you say each word. So it's peace begins with me. Peace begins with me. You got it? Maybe close your eyes if that feels okay. Inhale and exhale. Here we go. Peace begins with me. 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 Allow your palms to fall to your sides. I love that mantra and that meditation. I actually recommended it for my mom to do. She has a super stressful job, and I think it's a good way to just take a step back, breathe, and focus on something else. And you can also change it. Peace begins with me is one I like. You can, for clients, I will get better. This too shall pass. Make it your own. Trauma-informed yoga. In addition to being a registered yoga teacher, I am also a trauma-informed yoga teacher. So what does that mean? Trauma-informed yoga offers a structured, supportive, and self-paced environment for survivors to make choices in relation to their bodies and their experience that are kind, compassionate, and caring. All of the things that were missing during the trauma. I love that, and I love that it mentions yoga involves making choices that are kind, compassionate, and caring. It's so important when we're practicing yoga, when we're practicing meditation, to be kind, compassionate, and caring to ourselves. And we'll get a chance to practice that at the end. Another Bessel van der Kolk quote, noticing and befriending the sensations in our bodies can produce profound changes in both mind and brain that can lead to healing from trauma. And there is more and more phenomenal research coming out about the positive effects of yoga and trauma work. It's so awesome. A little bit out of today's scope, but it's really interesting. In yoga, we learn to respond to stressful situations in new ways. So if I'm in my yoga practice and I'm in a somewhat challenging pose, maybe it was those side bends we did earlier, those can be a little bit uncomfortable and challenging, opening up that side of your body that maybe, you've been sitting all day or haven't moved in a while. It feels a little bit uncomfortable. In yoga, we breathe through that discomfort and we know that it's going to end. So it allows us to feel uncomfortable and not immediately react. Kind of how we might do off of our mat, that emotion regulation. Yoga helps with that, in that if we can do that on our mat and breathe through the discomfort and know that it's going to end, we can do that off our mat as well. Yoga can elicit the relaxation response, self-regulation tools, like I just mentioned. Trauma-informed class, just if you're recommending this to your clients as providers, this is really important. Be mindful about what class you send your client to. People who have experienced trauma might have struggles in regular yoga classes. There are a lot of teachers actually in Tulsa who are trauma-informed and who do teach classes within the community So for example, I myself, I might cue postures differently. And if I'm teaching a trauma-informed class specifically, there are certain poses that I'm not going to incorporate, certain songs I'm not going to incorporate, and certain language that I might not incorporate. When I mention cueing, I mean getting people in and out of the postures. My descriptions are going to be especially cautious and considerate of trauma. Okay, so as I mentioned, we are going to practice that deregulating breath, that relaxing breath. It's called Kaki Pranayama, and it's also known as candle breathing. So find that comfortable seat, sit up tall. As you inhale, rub your palms together. Exhale. One more time. Inhale, feel that heat. And I know we're not supposed to do this right now, so if you don't want to touch your face, don't touch your face, but you'll place one palm right out in front of your lips and one palm either on your neck or on your cheek. Inhale. Exhale through pursed lips like you're blowing out a candle. 2 more times. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Let's do that again. So light your flame, rub your palms together, inhale, and exhale. 2 more times, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, blow out your candle. So to finish, we're going to do 2 different things. So we did a practice with a mantra and also a mudra. That piece begins with me. We'll go through a short mantra meditation, and it involves a song and a yoga chant that I'm not comfortable chanting just yet, but the mantra is Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu, and what that means is may all beings be happy and free, and may the thoughts and words and actions of my own life contribute in some way to that happiness and freedom for all. So as you sit and hear the song and hear the mantra, think about that meaning, or you can just think about the words, and that is meditating on kindness, compassion, people being free from suffering. So
Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukino Loka Samasta Sukino
If your eyes are closed, slowly open your eyes. Also, I was very apprehensive about Sanskrit mantras before I couldn't sleep one evening and remembered a mantra and just started kind of saying it to myself over and over, and I was asleep in like 4 minutes, and I have been hooked ever since. So it's kind of different. It's maybe something we're not used to, but I think it's important to try. So we'll finish with, like I mentioned earlier, that metta meditation. And so some of you joining today may be new to yoga, maybe new to meditation, and I just really encourage you that even if it's different, even if it's uncomfortable, give it a try. It can be really helpful, and I have personally experienced the benefits of a yoga and a meditation practice in my own life, and I've seen it be really helpful for my patients as well. I did the yoga training and the trauma-informed training with a lot of apprehension about what my clients would think of it, and the response has been overwhelmingly positive and helpful for them. So just highly encourage you to check it out. So as I said, we'll finish with that meditation. So metta means loving kindness. Are you sensing the theme here? And it involves sending loving kindness out into the world to other people, but also extending that same kindness and compassion to ourselves. So if you would, please find a comfortable seat if you're not already there. Close your eyes or find a soft gaze. As you feel ready, bring into your mind someone who you feel especially close and connected to. Someone who's been particularly important in your life. It could be a spouse, it could be a close friend, it could be a beloved pet. Picture them clearly in your mind's eye and say the following phrases silently to yourself as I say them out loud. May you be happy, may you be healthy, and may you be free from suffering. May you be happy, may you be healthy, and may you be free from suffering. May you be happy, may you be healthy, and may you be free from suffering. Switch your attention, this time to someone you don't know, someone you've seen, maybe a neighbor or someone on the street, someone at the grocery store, and picture them clearly in your mind and say the following phrases silently to yourself as I say them out loud. May you be happy, may you be healthy, and may you be free from suffering. May you be happy, may you be healthy, may you be free from suffering. May you be happy, may you be healthy, and may you be free from suffering. Shift your attention again to a larger group. Could be your church community, could be your family as a whole. I like to think about my work family when I do this meditation, and picture them clearly in your mind. May you be happy, may you be healthy, and may you be free from suffering. May you be happy, may you be healthy, and may you be free from suffering. May you be happy, may you be healthy, and may you be free from suffering. Switch your attention again. this time to someone you know who has been struggling. Someone who could use some metta or some kindness and compassion sent their way today. Picture them clearly in your mind. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be free from suffering. May you be happy. May you be healthy. And may you be free from suffering. May you be happy. May you be healthy. And may you be free from suffering. One more time. This time, shift your attention to yourself. Picture yourself clearly in your mind and say the following phrases silently to yourself, because you deserve the same kindness and compassion that you extend to others. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be free from suffering. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be free from suffering. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be free from suffering. Start to bring your attention and awareness back into the room. Open your eyes. Please bring your hands to heart center as a gesture of gratitude. I appreciate each of you so much for showing up and joining me in this webinar. When we say namaste, all we mean is that I see you and the place in you that is the same in me. Although we are different, we are one. Namaste. And I think I have time for a couple of questions. If anybody has questions. Thank you guys so much. Thanks, Lori. Thanks for coming. Thanks, Heather. Thanks, Heather. Thanks, Jill. I miss you. Thank you, Casey. Thanks, Christine. Oh, so if you go to the next slide, those are my references, and there's also some additional resources there. Also feel free to email me, reach out if you have any questions, if you want to connect about your own yoga practice or encouraging a client to start a yoga practice. I'm happy to talk, happy to be a resource, or if you have questions about any of the resources. Thanks, Beth. Yep, they're my additional resources. Yoga Alliance and the Yoga Journal has really great articles that are easy, quick reads and can be super helpful. There's that book about mudras I was talking about during the lecture. And the Yoga Beyond Belief is a little bit out there. It's a little bit different. But if you're interested, it's really awesome. And then I love the Yoga for Everyone 50 poses. They're really, really accessible, and it's really well written and laid out with pictures and everything. So it's great for beginners. Thanks, Denise. Thanks, Cheryl. Okay, thank you guys so much for being here. Like I mentioned, if you have questions at all, don't hesitate to reach out. Have a wonderful weekend.